Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm Amber Ledberry, the Outreach Coordinator at Climate Action Now, and one of many people who work to bring this action party to you today. It'll be just a few moments while people continue to gather. If you're feeling up for it, please also share your video so that we can all see each other. We will be recording this action party and it will be available publicly online. If you do not wish to appear in any shared content, please keep your camera off. We will send out the recording tomorrow. If this is your first ever action party, welcome. Let me give you a quick overview. An action party like this is an opportunity to learn about important environmental issues from people who are experts in their fields. In the course of the hour, we'll use the Climate Action Now app to take action together. Climate Action Now makes it easy to send well-researched, personalized messages to political decision makers and business leaders. To show you why it's so easy to take action with the Climate Action Now app, I'll share my screen, so just give me a moment. All right, you should be able to see my screen now. Um, so this is an example of an action like the ones you'll take today. It only takes 3 touches to take an action. First, you're going to touch Do It Now. Because the app, you'll input your address, it automatically knows who your state officials are. Then you can choose how you want to contact the decision maker that you're reaching out to, either by calling them or emailing them. Then you just have to hit send and you've taken action. In addition to sending emails this afternoon, we'll also have designated time for you to call your officials. As you take actions, you earn points. When you earn enough points, Climate Action Now plants a real tree on your behalf. So far, Climate Action Now has planted over 600,000 trees together. To get you started with taking action today, I'm going to turn the spotlight over to Kaylee Beam, our Director of Content at Climate Action Now. Over to you, Kaylee.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Let me go ahead and spotlight myself. All right. So, like Amber said, I'm Kaylee Beam, Director of Content at Climate Action Now, and I'm just going to get us all ready to take some action. So, I'm going to share my screen as well. You should be seeing it shortly. And I see some of you are already in here. You've already found where you're supposed to be, so you're in the right place. But if this is your first ever action party, let me introduce you to what you're looking at. So, on the left side of the screen, we have our goal tracker. And so it's this little globe which will fill in and iterate as we take action here today. And on the right side is the QR code, which is what you're going to scan to get into the app. So go ahead and take out your phones or tablets, open up your camera app, and point it at that QR code box on the right side of the screen, under where it says Today's Campaign. As you're pointing your camera at the QR code, a little bubble that says Climate Action Now should appear on your screen. Once it does, all you need to do is tap on it. Now, if you don't have the app already, tapping that bubble will take you to the App Store where you can download it for free. And once you're there, once you're on the platform, all you need to do is follow the prompts to sign up, and it will take you right to the People Over Plastic campaign, which is where you want to be for today. So I'll give everyone a moment to get in there, and if it's not working for you, don't worry. You can also go to your phone browser and type in the link that's directly under the QR code where it says canapp/peopleoverplastic. And for any Can Action Carousel users, you can access today's actions through the campaign's drop-down menu. If you're still having trouble, don't worry. The campaign will be open for at least a couple more days, and we'll share detailed instructions on how to access it in our event follow-up email. Finally, we'll have some dedicated time for making calls later in the event. So if you get to the call action in the campaign, feel free to just hang tight. And if you can't get on your platforms or you don't want to get the app, that's totally fine. You'll still be able to participate when we get to that calling portion. So thanks, everybody. I think that's it from me. Let's do our best to hit our goal, and back to you, Amber.
Thank you so much, Kaylee. And finally, a special thanks to our lead planning partner and moderator this afternoon, Alexis Goldsmith. Alexis is the National Organizing Director for Beyond Plastics and is a principal organizer on the New York is Not Disposable campaign to pass the Packaging Reduction and Recycling Infrastructure Act and the Bigger, Better Bottle Bill. Before we hear from our panelists and our speakers today, Alexis is going to talk about this bill and what's going on. Over to you, Alexis.
Thank you so much, Amber and Kaylee, and thank you, Climate Action Now, for all the support that you've given over the years for this bill. And thank you, everyone who's come in to take action and everyone who participated in the call relays to the speaker. We're in the last few days of session here, and we do have an update, which I'm going to pass it over to Judith to provide, because I'm sure you're all on the edge of your seat. So keep taking action. We're going to talk a bit about what's going on in Albany, and then we're going to make some phone calls. So without further ado, I guess just over to you, Judith.
Well, thank you, Alexis. So some of you already know this news because you were on the call with us last night, and we do have a plan for this call today. We're going to have a guest speaker also from Save the Sound. So no, I'm afraid I have to share some not great news. We learned just yesterday that Speaker Hasty will not allow the bill to come to the floor for a vote, which is, quite disappointing. Not totally surprising because we have seen the industry lobbyists out in force for the last few weeks in Albany. We thought our grassroots initiative would trump, so to speak, the Albany special interest lobbyists, but they are pretty politically influential, particularly with the speaker. But we are already building toward next year, which is why we didn't want to cancel this today. We urge you to do all the actions on the app. And then if you could stand to listen to a really tedious call to action from me for today, even though we're pretty much dead for this legislative session, which ends tomorrow. We are working with Assemblymember Glick and Assemblymember Dana Levenberg on a letter that would go to the speaker urging him to bring the bill up for a vote to the floor, because we just don't believe his statement that we don't have enough votes to get this bill through. Our conservative head count is that we have 80 yes votes, but he disagrees, and he's the speaker, not us. So what we have been doing for the last 24 hours, less than that actually, is asking co-sponsors of PREA to sign a letter to the speaker urging him to bring the bill to the floor for a vote. So we have roughly 25 assembly members who have co-signed this letter. I want to read you the list of 25, and you should only call your assembly member if you're a constituent. You don't need to call non-assembly members that do not represent you. So I'm going to quickly read you the list. You don't need to call them. So you're going to want to look at the list of sponsors. And if your assembly member who is a sponsor is not on the list I'm about to quickly run through, then you should call them and ask them to contact the office of Assemblymember Dana Levenberg to sign on to the PREA letter. The person to contact in Levenberg's office is her chief of staff, Victoria, and we'll put in the chat Victoria's email. So the member just needs to send an email to Victoria to be listed as a supporter. So it's CAFARELLIV at nyassembly.gov. So it's Victoria Caffarelli, who is Assemblymember Levenberg's chief of staff, who is coordinating the sign-on letter. So in a very short period of time, we got 25 assembly members to sign on, which is helpful for us for next session to know like who are the true blue supporters. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 9 assembly members who said they're very supportive. They told the speaker yes, but they were afraid to sign on to the letter. So that tells you about kind of the dynamic with the speaker. But the members who have already signed on are Sturpey, Shrestha, Amy Paulin, Burdick, Levenberg, Gallagher, Simon, Steck, Kellis, and Alexis is typing all of these in the chat if you miss any. Kasey, Kay, Lasher, Shimsky, Schiavone, Forrest, Rosenthal, is it Marino? Morano. The new person from Astoria. Tapia, Patrick Carroll, Lick, JGR, Matenis, Raga, Keith Wright, Jordan Wright, and Valdez.
So does everyone understand this ask? Because it's a little
Ridiculous.
no, it's not ridiculous. It's just a little bit insider.
So if your assembly member is a co-sponsor of PREA, but is not on this list we just put in the chat, call them up and say, can you please sign on to the letter to the speaker, urging him to bring the bill to a vote before they adjourn.
And that letter is being coordinated by Levenberg's office.
Any questions or comments? Great. Look, we got 247.
Yeah, we're already close to 300. If they are on the list, yes, you don't need to do anything
right
at this
point.
point.
Oh, did I say Lasher? Michael Lasher signed it.
I think so.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And then if your member says they won't sign it, it's still important to ask if they're a yes vote. So I think we should turn to Ella because we all need some good news about two bills that are live. So I know this news is a gut punch to everybody, but we can redirect our energy to something that is productive. And there are two PFAS bills that have passed the Senate and that we are trying to get through the Assembly. And Ella Fitzgerald here with Save the Sound is here to talk about those two bills. So Ella's going to give you the bill numbers and what they do and what to say when you call your assembly members. Then we'll pause to take phone calls. And then I think Judith and I can take any more questions on PREA and kind of where we go from here. Does that sound good?
Her last name is McGreal.
Oh, McGreal. I'm sorry. That's not the first time I've called you Ella Fitzgerald.
I love that you called me Ella Fitzgerald.
Sorry.
I should be so lucky to be Ella Fitzgerald.
Anyway, let's move on from that. Okay, this is Ella McGrail with Save the Sound. And Ella also is just a great friend and has been doing heroic work on PREA for all of us. So thank you, Ella, for that. And this is not the only bill she works on. So Ella, take it away. Tell us what's going on with these PFAS bills. Yeah, take it away from me.
I think I see at least several people on this call who've also been doing heroic work for PREA. But yes, I'm happy. I'm really also very upset to see PREA not getting through this year, but they're not getting rid of us. We'll be back next year.
What you said earlier, we're like microplastics.
Oh, yeah, we're like microplastics. We're not going anywhere. We're everywhere. Yeah. We're everywhere and we're staying there.
Annoying.
Yeah. We'll disrupt your endocrines. So basically, so I work for Save the Sound, which is a nonprofit that advocates for Long Island Sound. If you want to get our emails, go ahead and sign up on our website. But we advocate for bills that are going to be promoting good water quality in New York. And so in addition to PREA, we are really focused on getting two bills through the legislature that would ban PFAS in a broad range of consumer products. I'm sure most people on this call are familiar with PFAS, but just quickly for anyone who's maybe not as familiar, PFAS are a class of chemicals that are colloquially known as forever chemicals because of how persistent they are in the environment. They do not naturally break down, and once they're in your body, they tend to stay in your body. And they have a lot of honestly similar problems that we see with the chemicals and microplastics. They're endocrine disruptors, they're carcinogens, they're obesifiers, they hurt fertility. For Save the Sound's purposes, they cause a lot of those same problems in fish. So if when you're pumping a chemical out into the environment that is messing with animals' ability to reproduce, you're really playing fast and loose with your food chain. So we are trying to cut these chemicals off at the source. They're really difficult to clean out. We want to prevent them getting into people's bodies and getting into the water in the first place. Often when PFAS are used in products, they're because of their waterproofing abilities or their grease proofing, stain proofing. So if you ever see like water resistant, stain resistant, grease resistant, it's probably because there's a PFAS chemical in that. But we don't need to use PFAS. We really don't. We existed a long time without it. There are plenty of alternatives that are safer. So the first bill that would ban PFAS from a broad range of common household products that we know that there are safe and affordable alternatives for. This is Bill A7738A, and I'll stick that in the chat. A7738A. And you guys should feel right at home because this is also a Harcum Glick bill.
And it passed the Senate.
And it already has passed the Senate. So we're good in the Senate. It's in the codes committee right now, but that means it just has one more to clear, and then it should be good to go. So what this bill would do is ban PFAS from dental floss, cookware, carpets, paint, children's products, and ski wax, random one, but also good. And there's broad support for this bill. I'm pretty sure we have the votes for it. This is also just sort of a thing where the speaker seems to be reluctant to bring it to the floor. So the ask for this would be calling your member, if they're a co-sponsor, if you happen to know if they're a co-sponsor, thanking them for it, but saying that you would like this bill to be brought to the floor and voted on before the end of session. And this is entirely achievable. This is one of those things where it's like they can get a committee and they can get it right under the floor. So A7738A. A7738A is that bill. And then the other PFAS bill is A2054B. I'll also put that in the chat. This one's also known as the Beauty Justice Act. And this one would ban PFAS and actually a bunch of other toxins like lead and formaldehyde from personal care and cosmetic products. Yeah, and it's also known as the Beauty Justice Act. This one not only would protect people's health by just, again, getting these nasty chemicals that we don't want in our bodies and don't want in our environment from being produced in the first place. This is also a really important environmental justice bill because a lot of the products that are specifically marketed to Black women and women of color tend to have a lot more toxins in them, especially things like hair relaxers, hair dyes, synthetic hair. These things are particularly marketed to Black women and they're really toxic a lot of the time. So our partners at We Act and other environmental justice organizations across the state are really focused on this one. It's a big focus for us as well. And this one is also passed the Senate. It is also a Glick bill. She goes to the mat for us. And it is also just I think possibly 2 committees away, but it still also could pass. So the ask for the Beauty Justice Act is the same thing, that you would like to see this bill brought to the floor and passed in the assembly before the end of session, because the Senate has already done so for both of these bills. That was a lot of fast talking. Any questions?
Thank you, Ella. Yeah, and congratulations on reaching 300 actions, everybody. If we can increase the goal counter, Kaylee and Amber, that would be great. Yeah, any questions on these 2 bills for Ella before we call our members? Yep, Victoria.
You're muted, Victoria.
1 second. I think we have everybody muted by default. So let me ask Victoria to unmute.
Okay. Okay.
There we go.
So, okay. So on the second bill, 2054B, Glick is the assembly, and who is the senator?
That's Senator Webb, but it has
Webb.
already passed the Senate, thankfully.
Yes. Okay. But the senator is Webb. Okay. That's all. Thank you.
Hi, Victoria. Good to see you.
Okay, so I think now we're going to pause and make the phone calls in the app. So it's 4 phone calls, your own assembly member, your own senator, Hasty, and Stuart Cousins. I think the message, and Judith, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is, we saw Hasty's comments in the press. we're really disappointed that he's not going to bring Priya to a vote.
We still want it to
we still want it to come up because session doesn't end until Friday. And we support these two PFAS bills, which are in the chat. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but you don't have to mention the PFAS bills to Hasty and your assembly member.
Right.
I would prioritize first call your own assembly member and say, we still want Priya to come up and we support these two PFAS bills, followed by Hasty, followed by your own senator and Andrew Stewart Cousins.
All right, so let's pause and make those 4 calls. So I think maybe 10 minutes. Do we have some elevator music that we could play, Amber?
I can find some.
I think I sent Amber a royalty-free jazz music playlist maybe like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
Maybe it
let
could
me
be
find
worth
that
pulling
one.
that up in
All right.
honor of Ella Fitzgerald.
Perfect.
Or Judith could beatbox.
All right, folks. If you're still calling, keep making calls, just mute us. Um, we're gonna we're gonna cut the call off because, you know, we're done. But the calls for the PFAS bills are definitely productive, so definitely do those. We're gonna do a full autopsy on this session at our next campaign call, which should we have that next Tuesday or should we wait a week? Tuesday? Yeah.
Well, whatever you think.
Well, let's see. We're gonna send an announcement to the full New York is Not Disposable list and everyone who's helped with the campaign, all the organizational co-sponsors that have been promoting the bill and helping with, driving calls and grassroots organizing. We're gonna send an announcement to our full email list when session is done. The Senate is going to adjourn tomorrow. The Assembly will go home on Friday. So after tomorrow, if they adjourn without passing it, then we'll know for sure that it's done. So we'll do the full autopsy and kind of where we go from here, which is when we'll get the ideas flowing for how we're gonna come back next year because we can't give up. Plastic is flowing into the ocean as we speak, so we're gonna keep at this. But before we wrap up this call, if anyone has any comments or questions, or you want to just rant for a minute for emotional release, that would be totally fine. Feel free to come off mute, and then we'll wrap up.
Beauty justice is through the Senate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, both the PFAS bills pass the Senate, so you only need to focus on the Assembly there. But thank you all for making calls and coming. I mean, you are the true blue supporters. This has been rough, and this week in Albany, it's been all industry lobbyists in the Assembly parlor. I mean, an army of them stalking us and and whispering and conspiring with each other. So I'm sorry I don't have better news. In good news, it does look like a 1-year moratorium on data centers is going to pass both houses. So we are happy about that, even though that's not something that we worked on. We are happy about the PFAS bills that did pass, but you said only 350 bills passed the Assembly this year, and last year was 850. So, just the late budget really hurt us, and the industry has very deep pockets. Full permission to eat a pan of brownies and rewatch your favorite show this weekend for comfort. But also go for a walk in nature. Please touch some grass. Smell the flowers. The weather's beautiful. We don't have that horrific wildfire smoke, thankfully. So
horrible.
Go for a bike ride, do some yoga, spend time with your family, walk the dog, and just take care of yourselves. And then we'll be back for our call next Tuesday.
And don't worry about us. We're fine. It hasn't fully hit yet.
I mean, I'm mad. Don't get me wrong. I'm pretty angry.
We're mad, but we are okay. My husband called during this meeting and I said, "Hey, I'll be home for dinner." I haven't said that in weeks.
Yeah, on the bright side. Yeah, we were in the Capitol till 9 o'clock every day this week, so we're happy to go home a little early,
but we're okay. Yeah. And Alexis Goldsmith is incredible. We are
we all
fortunate. We all are, but really, you led
you.
This work and a million thanks and brownies to Alexis. And we appreciate all of you.
Yeah, we were all sitting at the table behind the Assembly parlor this morning. We walked in and the first thing we heard was it's dead. And so we were all at the table, like we were so glum. And Jeremy Cheerson from Riverkeeper rolled up with 2 huge pans of brownies. Like we were like, okay, I feel a little better about life.
And then we were fine.
Yeah.
The industry lobbyists are still stalking us.
They don't get any.
We're not giving them any brownies. And thanks to Climate Action Now, I mean, this was poorly timed because the bill just died, but all the other Climate Action Now efforts have really made a huge difference. And hey, getting some calls in on the PFAS bills could really tip it over. So thank you.
And I don't know why we're sharing Jane's screen, but do the other actions in the app. There are other things to work on. Thank you for your attention on this bill. We'll see you. I'm not going to do the coffee hour this Friday, I don't think.
Yeah,
We'll
take
cancel
Friday
that,
off.
but we'll see you next Tuesday for a debrief.
I am seeing a question in the chat about can you repeat who Victoria is? I think Dana Levenberg's
Yeah,
chief.
Victoria is Dana Levenberg's chief of staff. And so if an assembly member wants to sign on to the letter, then email Victoria, and her email is cafarelliv@nyassembly.gov.
I'll type that in the chat again.
Like 455 calls. That's amazing.
I know. So many actions that everybody messages have been sent in just the last, half hour plus making calls. So
It
you're
was
all
not
amazing.
for lack of grassroots action. I mean,
Yep.
Judith said earlier that, she feels like we really did everything that we could. And we put it all on, you all put it all on the field, for sure.
And we're talking to reporters and telling the story. So we're not going to keep this private. We're talking about the political influence of the fossil fuel and chemical industry, and we'll get that message out. We won't say on the record that they're bastards, but we will point out their enormous political influence in Albany. It was, I think it's probably set a record. I think the Hochul's push on car insurance had Uber spending a lot of money, so the chemical companies might be behind Uber, but they'll definitely be in the top spenders this session. Jane has a question.
Go ahead, Jane.
You're on mute.
I just want to say that this headline I got today: White House officials remove drinking water protections against 4 cancer-linked forever chemicals, PFAS. And that's, by Zeldin. Zeldin pushed for lower PFAS levels when he was in New York. Now he's gone, when in Washington, do what Washington does, and when in New York, do what New York does. It's just, yeah,
Yeah, we've been
it's sad.
pointing out also the governor's gutting of the state climate law and seeker. Like the Trump administration is doing an unprecedented attack on clean air, clean water, and climate change. And so you would think a big state like New York would adopt, proactively protective measures, but the state's going in the opposite direction. So we're very vulnerable if we want to breathe clean air and drink
Yeah.
clean water.
Well, hooray for the PFAS bill that just passed. It looks like it's going to pass. Great. Good.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Amber and Kaylee. We'll see you next time.
Thanks
All
so
right.
much, everyone.
Thank you guys.
Goodbye.